Welcome to the Registered Investment Advisor Podcast, where financial services marketing expert Seth Green interviews experts, executives, and top producers to share can't-miss tips on how they successfully manage their financial service firms, grow their businesses, create great relationships, and influence the industry. And now, here's your host, Seth Green.
Welcome to the podcast. This is your host, Seth Green. Today, I've got the good fortune to be interviewing the CEO and founder of TradeMarc Global, Marc Del Priore. They were just named to the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America list for 2022. Marc has been a former Division I soccer player. He is the husband and father of 5 beautiful children and has been an entrepreneur for over 22 years. Marc, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much, Seth, for having me. I'm glad to be here. I'm excited to partake and answer some questions and have a good time.
We greatly appreciate your time. Congratulations on the Inc. 5000. That's an incredible accomplishment. How did you get started?
Yeah, so with TradeMarc started off almost like bootstrap side hustle, and it quickly became something that was, feeding my family and then helped us to thrive and become very successful to become one of the Inc. 5000 fastest growing companies in America. I basically started off just brokering on the side, nights and weekends, with data and leads, and then one thing led into another. I grew a lot of relationships. From those relationships, brought in more revenue, and from that revenue was able to reinvest it back into the company to grow it further and further.
Well, that's awesome. What does TradeMarc Global do?
So TradeMarc Global is a digital marketing firm. We essentially help some of the largest clients in the world, like the Allstates, the lending trees, and stuff like that, to get more customers. That's basically what we do. We help put new opportunities of people looking for a new mortgage or looking for new car insurance or looking for things of that nature. So we work in about 15 different niches and verticals, and we essentially help these big companies to get more customers to have. So,
well, awesome. That's incredible. Talk a little bit about because that's a digital marketing, obviously an incredibly competitive industry, and you're working with some of the bigger names in the industry in your niches. So, how do you get in the door at a company like that?
That's a good question. What we offer is very different. It's almost a niche within the digital marketing realm, which is how we're successful to get in the door with some of the largest clients. And basically, I'll explain that to you. For example, we charge on a per lead basis. What that basically means is you can get a qualified lead rather than having to pay upfront and hope to get a qualified lead. So in other words, we will always offer you a payment. You only have to pay us per lead that we provide you, which basically
getting paid on results. That's awesome.
Yeah, as the client, you have a leg up because you don't have to do the advertising. You don't have to spend any money to run ads. You don't have to pay us to run the ads. So we're not going to look like for $10,000 up front and then try to get you leads. We take that upfront cost ourselves, and then just by the leads that are coming in, we'll give you those leads and charge you just for the leads that are qualified.
Well, that makes a lot of sense. Obviously, that incentivizes, that makes it a heck of a lot easier marketing conversation for your marketing firm. Now, why would a company like Allstate, Liberty Mutual, whoever, are you working with, corporate Fortune 500 offices and doing this nationwide? Or are you working with, let's say, one specific Allstate rep down the street?
That's a good question. So my business model was, as a CEO and founder, how do we grow quickly? How do we scale fast? And how do we have the least amount of overhead to do that? So what we ended up doing was, instead of going to the local agencies and the local retail offices, that to me felt like, if I'm going to spend 8-12 hours a day working with my team, what are we going to focus on? Where are we going to focus the most to get the best rate of return? So time is money, as they say, right? So we started to say, okay, if we spend 8-12 hours a day going after big accounts, it's more than likely we're going to get big accounts. If we spend 8 to 12 hours a day going after small accounts, it's more than likely we're going to get small accounts. So where do we want to spend our time? And that's kind of, we came up with the concept of, think big, go big. And that's what we ended up doing, and it ended up working.
Well, that works for sure. Well, congratulations on that. Now, why forgive the question, but if I'm, let's say, Allstate, and I've got national TV commercials that are, for better or worse, dumb, big dumb company, sorry, not to offend anybody, but really big company doing mostly branding. And at least in the property and casualty insurance world, Allstate, Geico, State Farm, Liberty Mutual, Progressive have all spent decades and billions of dollars convincing everyone insurance is all about the cheapest price. Just keep switching every 6 months and save money. I'm exaggerating, of course. But why does that company with, let's say, giant Madison Avenue ad agency and billion-dollar budgets, why do they look to you? Why are they using you as opposed to that giant firm that's producing, the Jake from State Farm commercials?
It's a good question. We pondered that thought for a while, and what we've come up to the conclusion is they have to rely on their own in-house media buying employees to do a really good job of creating the content, creating the commercials, making them successful. At the end of the day, there's only so many employees they hire to do that stuff. So by accessing other firms like us, we're essentially an extension of their marketing team. So they have like hundreds of different extensions of their marketing teams like TradeMarc Global that help them get what they want without them having to pay the health benefits, without them having to pay the overhead and payroll tax and all that. Does that make sense? So they're kind of leveraging our platforms. It's a smart move.
And then would your process work for, let's say, a local business as opposed to, nationwide for Allstate?
Our leads definitely work for local offices. I mean, everyone started somewhere, right? Even the Allstates of the world and, companies like that, everybody started somewhere. So the local offices, although it's not our main focal point because we have a small boutique team ourselves, we still like to work with teams that are maybe 5, 10 agents at a minimum. So we know that they have worked with leads before, they're comfortable with follow-up processes, they have systems in place to do follow-up, and they know what it's like, where sometimes leads come through, they're not going to be as qualified. Sometimes they come through and they're good. So there's going to be that balance, right? And anyone who says in the lead gen world that's different is I'd be careful to work with them. But we want to make sure that when we're working with local offices that they understand that it's going to be a challenge sometimes, and they have to be able to reply with reports, like with what we call disposition reports, to give us feedback on how it's working, what's going wrong so we can fix it, what's going right so we can increase it. And we found that these big offices and corporate offices have a really good disposition data reports to provide that help us do our job better. So as long as the local offices can do that and they understand the difference between KPIs and cost per acquisition, and they know their numbers, it really helps us help them. Otherwise, it's kind of difficult to make a campaign successful.
What types of niches do you work in other than in property and casualty insurance?
So we work in Medicare, health insurance, we work in legal, like the mass torts, and also personal injury, motor vehicle accident. We work in mortgage, we work in personal loans, credit repair. I would say about 15 verticals. And we're growing. We're working a lot of home services like windows, roofing, siding, and we're growing those into bath remodeling as well. So essentially, we're like a network. We're a hub. We have over 400 affiliates who work with us consistently to find access to these clients who are buying these leads. And that's basically how we operate. So we're in the middle. We have our publishers and affiliates who send the leads through us to our clients, and we're in the middle evaluating the leads, doing quality control on the leads, and being there for our clients to make sure that they're converting where they need to be converting.
That's incredible. I love the business model, and obviously you've got quite a strong affiliate network. Talk a little bit about some of the strategies that helped you get to the Inc. 5000, because that's no easy accomplishment.
Yeah, I mean, I would love to talk about that, So when it comes to the Inc. 5000, it's not something we were actually like shooting for. We just, every day we buckled down and we figured out like what was working, and everything that we've done, whether it was sending emails out, whether it was going on LinkedIn, whether it was going on Facebook, whether it was, etc., like whatever sources of business development and sales outreach we were doing, we were looking back at that and seeing what's actually creating the most revenue, the most sales, what's bringing in the most clients. And then we would double down and triple down on those things that are working, because if they were working, the more we do of them, the more they should bring in. And that's exactly what happened.
That's incredible. What are some of the biggest challenges you see now in the marketplace in the digital marketing world? It seems like things are changing at a lightning pace. Every couple of weeks, there's a new app, there's a new social network that people are moving to. What are some of the biggest changes you've seen, and how do you keep up with it all?
So the biggest changes we've seen are a lot of people nowadays are going online to buy advertisements, right? Like companies like us and other law firms, other mortgage companies, other insurance companies. They're all starting to realize that going online is creating a lot of interest in getting more leads for their company to help them grow. So what that's doing is it's increasing the cost significantly of how much it costs to generate a lead, right? Because there's so much competition that everybody's competing against the same keywords, everybody's competing against different advertisements, and it's driving up the cost of how much it costs to actually generate a qualified lead. Some of the trends that we're seeing on how to be successful when generating leads is to go to the platforms that are newer, believe it or not, like the TikToks of the world. And YouTube's coming out with YouTube Shorts now, so they have that going for a while, and it's getting bigger and bigger. And Instagram Reels is still pretty big, where you got to know where to put your content, and then after you know where to put it, what to put up. And usually, what you want to put up is video content that's explaining to people and bringing value on what you do and how you do it and how you can help them, basically. So,
with everything going on, I mean, you've achieved a lot of success for your firm and even more for your clients. What's your biggest challenge now?
Our biggest challenge is keeping it all together, hiring employees who can actually, we need to actually have more customer service, right? We need to have more of the check-in once a day, once a week, and say, hey, how did everything go this week? Do you need anything from us? How can we optimize this? How can we make it better? What's going wrong, right? How can we fix that? That's something we're doing. We're working on hiring to be able to handle all that.
Yeah, hiring is a challenge everywhere during this whole great resignation thing. So if I know it's probably different vertical to vertical, niche to niche, but if somebody asked you, hey, what's your sweet spot, or what platform are you having the best results with? Can I put you on the spot? Which one would you say?
Yeah, definitely not putting me on the spot. So what we do is always client centric, right? Which basically means if you are, for instance, an advertiser, or we call them advertisers, a client that needs really good quality leads, we're probably going to be focusing on Google, pay-per-click, Google search, Bing search, high ends where people are actively going online searching at that moment, and then the lead comes over to you. But if you're more of a call center type of operation, which we have some of those too, where they say, Mark, we don't need the highest quality because we're not actually closing the deals. Instead, we're actually taking the leads, calling them, pre-qualifying them, and then transferring them to the end client. So we need more affordable leads. We don't need Google search. We may need display ads, banner ads, email. Some of our clients even buy co-reg leads, which is like a co-registration survey type of lead, where it's people filling out multiple different offers in one path. So it really depends on the client, and we have different tiers, and we segregate them out based on what our clients' needs are and what their costs are that they can pay, and what we think is going to work best for them.
That makes a lot of sense. Your passion is obvious. What do you like best about what you're doing?
It's the freedom that it offers, right? In the beginning, it was a grind, right? Getting to this point was definitely a grind, I have to say. It was a lot of nights and weekends, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears. But now getting to this point where we're very comfortable in growing the company and helping our clients, we're very transparent and honest. It makes it easy to run a business when you're trying to do the right thing every day, day in and day out. It just, right now, it's a matter of just maintaining it and then growing it for next year.
Absolutely. Anything, I know your time is incredibly valuable. Anything else you want to share that I didn't think to ask you yet?
I think, depending on the audience that's out, I think at this point, what's got me to the line of success that I'm in as an entrepreneur is the mindset, right? It always boils down to, in other words, how can I do this, right? And then it's, can I do this? And then it's figuring out and staying positive. Once you figure out how, and you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe that it's possible, right? And a lot of people want to think that's not relevant, but I have to say, most people who are not ending up successful as an entrepreneur either have hard times because of the economy, which is hard, or their mindset's not 100% in it, right? They're not studying their craft enough, and they're not positive enough to think that they can actually do it. So that was something that I dedicated myself to, is studying what I have to do and being positive and believing in myself that we can actually fulfill it and do it. Even during COVID and all that stuff, keeping that positive mindset, persevering, and doing research on what actually the successful companies are doing and emulating that. So it's a combination of mindset, studying and researching, all the stuff you hear about. That's something that is no joke. You would think it is, but I'm living proof that it's actually very essential to a successful business.
Yeah, I mean, you're 100% right. Other than a Fortune 500 company, who is an ideal client for you?
So mid-sized companies are ideal clients as well, right? So companies that have maybe 5, 10, 15 plus insurance agents that are looking for leads, or they have, loan officers looking for leads. Usually a minimum is about 3 to 5, people in your office, sales reps in your office that want to be able to work these leads, because the follow-up process is crucial, right? You can't just be one person trying to follow up with all these different leads. Now, there are companies in our space that do work with the one-off regional offices, but unfortunately, since we're more of a boutique shop ourselves, like I said before, we don't have the resources to be able to handle so many different accounts. So we're focusing on the mid-size to large for now, and maybe eventually as we grow, open up to, the regional accounts as well.
That makes a lot of sense. For our folks watching and listening who want to learn more about how your pay-per-lead services work, where is the best place for them to go to learn more about you and TradeMarc?
Yes, TradeMarc Global has our website, which is tmgbl.com. Or if you see my name and you could just look me up on LinkedIn. It has all bio on me. It has everything we offer. And then there's also a TradeMarc Global LinkedIn page, which you could check out on there. TradeMarc spelled with a C at the end, not a K, in case you're looking it up on Google. But if you do Google us, you'll find us on Google as well.
Awesome. Well, we greatly appreciate your time again. We know it's incredibly valuable. This has been Seth Green with Marc Del Priore from TradeMarc Global. Marc, thanks so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. Have a nice rest of the day.
Thanks everybody for watching or listening. We'll talk to you or see you next time.